Welcome back to Omnifactory. Today, well, into the Microverse, I think, or at least towards the Microverse, we're going to need to do this quest. And I've started on some of the basic bits of it, so we get to the more complex bits. But basically what we've got is this quest over here on the right-hand side, and it shows a spaceship right next to it. So we have a small Microverse projector, and I've made the modular machine control. That's just 4 tier 3 circuits and some stone birds and stuff like that, so that's straightforward. The Ineffable Glass is a little different in that that needs lunar reactive dust. You don't need to go to the moon for it. It is just basically transformed lapis in your resonator, which of course now is essentially free as far as that's concerned. And then we've got to make these 4 items. So to get ourselves what the machine casings we need to put this in some modularium into a basic assembly machine. And as far as how much modularium I've got, just to give you an idea, modularium. So far, I've used up for these 15, that's 60 there. So 64, and I think that's going to be 68. So 68 plus another 16. So that's what 78, 84 or so. 84 and 85, so it's 160, 169 so far modularium. We'll see if that is enough. I could go and count all the sub-recipes, but we're just going to see whether it actually is enough and just get that done otherwise. So if you have a look out here, I've put in our deuterium supply around back in here, and it's still got 7 buckets left. This is now run out, and this automatically gets put into the system. So all we need to actually do is make more steel and more energetic blend if we want more stuff in there. And that's going to be quite straightforward. So it's not deuterium that's now the stopping, so the bottleneck, it's everything else. So let's just get that going. So let's see what we need to do to get this going. So I've got 4 machine casings just in case, because we need to make a few things. First of all is, let's just take a look, the big item output. Very sort of straightforward recipes, but it needs all the previous tiers. So we need machine casings and those, so tiny item output. And I'll go down through these, chasing this going upwards. And I guess I'm going to need more chests and more hoppers because it needs it for every single tier. So I'm going to make those, and I'll do the rest of them off camera, so you don't need to wait for that. Then we've got some normal item inputs, and you can see these are all the same kind of thing. They're all chests, they're all hoppers, and they all go back to a machine casing. So for each one of those things in here, I've made 1 machine casing. So 1, 2, 3, 4, you get the idea. Hopefully that's going to cover it. The quantum compressor, however, is a little bit different. If you have a look in here, it requires some black steel, which we've been making, and or at least we've made the dust form. And we've also got these elite catalysts, and they're used for all kinds of different things, all kinds of multi-crafting and automation interfaces. Very strongly featured in late packs. Things like Project Ozone 3 had some, and here we are. You can see it's the part of the upgrade for the elite extended crafting table. However, even before you get to that point, you can build a quantum compressor, and that just needs some black steel, a black iron frame, which is just more black steel, and these elite catalysts. So elite components needs luminescence. We've made that before, if you remember. We needed a block of it. Black steel, aluminium, and ender pearl. And ender pearl is straightforward. Yeah, it's just ender pearls into a block form and then sliced. So we can already make the elite components, and the elite catalysts are just the elite components with some black steel plate. So as before, you're going to want a bunch of black steel, and we're going to want it in ingot form. So is the most efficient way to do that just to smelt this thing, or does it have to go in a blast furnace? Looks like it has to go in a blast furnace, and it doesn't have any particular temperature requirements, so that will be good. And I'm going to need to go and make that into plates, so I'm just going to dump a full stack of it in there. Sure, that will do just fine, and it's processing quite nicely. So I'm going to do the rest off camera of the orange stuff anyway, and we'll come back for the completion of the quantum compressor. And the quantum compressor stuff is ready to go, so I can tell the system just to craft one, and it has to craft a majority of the, well, maybe not, maybe just the aluminium plate, so that can get started. Yeah, it's just the aluminium plate and the black steel plate, so both of those will go across to a different compressor. They can be done in parallel, so that's good. They're going to be quite fast. Now, the rest has already been constructed now. The only thing that I'd say is that the normal energy input and item input are pretty much easy to craft. They just need buckets and hoppers, or yeah, I think it's buckets and hoppers in case of the fluid input hatch, and normally item input is fine. The HV energy input needs a HV machine hull, so you need to create one of those for it, and the big item output is the one that uses up the most. Regardless, however, I have still got 57 modularium left, so that's about 110 we've used. 120 will be probably safe, and maybe we're going to use that in the next quest or to upgrade this whole construction. But all we need now is that quantum compressor. You crafting just 2 more black steel plates, and it can already make these elite catalyst elite components, so that should be done. So 1 quantum compressor, and then we'll see what the next part needs. So that should be the quest. Small microverse projector. We get 100 omni pennies, which is great. We can use those just for more salt ore or whatever we want to do that with. And that leads us to the first foray into the microverse. And we need a steel-plated micro miner tier 1. Okay, what do you need? Well, all those are going to go into the system because I'm not going to craft those manually. So let's just get the name of it. Steel-plated micro miner. Well, let me just put that in my steel-plated micro. Okay, and that's definitely going to go into bookmarks because I don't want to have to type that multiple times. Okay, so let's take a look at here. Basic micro miner guidance system. Lots of tier 2 circuits, LV sensors, that's steel plate and quartzite. Brass rod. I'm not sure if I've made brass yet, but we'll get to it. Steel heavy plating we've just made, you remember? So that's just steel plate. System may not have a recipe for that yet, but we'll get to it. Oh, those are both really easy. So I'm just going to make two of those because, yeah, why don't we just do that? Which should be really straightforward. Just get some... Am I out of glass? Really am out of glass. Okay, sand. And just grab some of you. Pop you up here. And we're no longer out of glass. We should be able to get that shortly. I used it up, I think, to make sandy glass for one of the Ineffable Glass needs sandy glass at some point. But that's 2 basic mining lasers. Okay, so then we need a basic diesel generator. That's going to be straightforward low voltage stuff. Apart from the steel gear, yeah, I'm probably going to need to make that, but we'll get on with it. And then conductive iron thrusters. This looks like all stuff that we can actually make. So let's just to the system. I've only got 3 recipes left. So let's just tell it to how to make those. They're probably going to get reused in the jetpack recipe whenever I do that to get creative flight. It's not all that important, at least in this playthrough, but in others it may well be. So yes, we then need a basic diesel generator. So we need to tell the system how to make one of those. And that will be you. And if I just type MOL, I should get to the spare slots here. I've only got 1 spare slot. Ugh. Fine. And maybe the actual LV sensor as the remaining recipe. I need to get the system to make more. And then we'll just get a refined circuit. I need to craft one of those. But the system should craft one hopefully pretty fast. And we'll use that as the recipe so it isn't looking for like a good electronic circuit or whatever the equivalent is for tier 1. And that should be pretty quick. It just needs 1 tin alloy plate and then it's going to make some foil. And we should be good to go. So, you're going to give me that refined? There it goes. And now it's crafting 4 because it does 4 at a time. Fine. Okay, so I'm going to make the rest of this. Let's just see what it says in the quest log. So tier 1 microminer is useful for returning large amounts of basic materials to you, but it's nothing you can't mine yourself. However, the quantum flux returned by the microminer is invaluable and cannot be obtained anywhere except via mining via a microverse. So, quantum flux, here it is. So, are you sure? Is that what it said? Quantum flux returned by the microminer can't be found anywhere else. Guys, that's it has a recipe. Am I misunderstanding that? Oh, hang on. Quantum eye, maybe? Let's just look in the small one. No, maybe that's just the quest X being wrong. So using the quantum flux, which we can create, we're going to need some rocket fuel for this. and we're going to need other bits and pieces. So, steel-plated microminer tier 1, and let's just look at what that will give us. It can give us 3 possible recipes. Either stellar creation data, I'm not sure what that's for. Looks like it's for a higher tier. Oh, okay, yeah, it's for a higher tier to get neutronium. Neutronium is overpowered. We're not there yet. So we don't need to worry about that recipe. These early ones is a chest, so quantum flux, and that microminer. I assume that's going to get used up. So unfortunately it gets used up, but I'm sure it's going to get used up. However, what do we get out of this? Dense iron ore, cassiterite, redstone. Not pleasing me so far. Rutile, it is. That's very, very good. Rutile, we can just, well, get rutile out of it. But rutile dust then lets us, I think, get to titanium, is it? Yeah, titanium tetrachloride. So, yeah, that is a sort of severe weakness at the moment in being able to get that. So that's good. Galena is good. Uranite is going to be good. Moontuff. Is there any use for moontuff? To get moon dust, to get more quantum fluxes. Okay, I can deal with that. Dilithium ore, well, that's very Star Trekky. And that's dilithium dust, dilithium crystals, of course it's dilithium crystals. And who knows where that actually goes on to. The ultimate gem. Fine, not stuff we not want now. So primarily, we're going to get rutile ore out of this and moontuff. Or we can do a gemstone sensor and we can get exquisite diamond, which makes diamond lattices from Averitia. Now, normally that is made with regular diamonds. It's normally a plate of like 5 diamonds in an X shape to make these kind of things. So in this case, not so much. We can make the regular diamond plates from diamonds and blocks of diamonds, but this exquisite diamond we have to get from the Microverse. And the diamond lattice from Averitia is then used on the crystal matrix ingot, although I think that's a new recipe. And the crystal matrix ingot is then using even more overpowered stuff like the Skullfire sword and Sword of the Cosmos, which is infinity attack damage. Yeah, so you can decide how far on you actually want to go with that, but that's the second recipe. And that's only if we build a gemstone sensor, which we're not there yet. That's tungsten carbide plate, and that's IV tier stuff. So we're definitely going to be this recipe initially. We need to use 2000 FE per tick and total of, well, let's just take a look. So if it's 2000, let's just say it's 1000 FE per tick. That means 1000 ticks or 500 seconds or so, and then it actually consumes double than that, so it's probably 250 seconds, something like that. Yeah, so yeah, that's not too long. It's 4 and a bit minutes or something like that. So yeah, we should get this back fairly fast. However, I do still need to make the little microminer. So I'm off to do that, and then we'll have to go and... I don't think I've got a lot of rocket fuel. I think I just made some for the quest, and I need to probably set up a full chain for it. Regardless, let's build this first of all and see where we get to. Do we need the blueprint? What do we actually need to do for this? Let's take a look. Can you show me the levels? Level 0, so it has to be specific maybe? Yep, machine casing. Is it hollow in the middle? It's got the compressor in the middle. That's quite nice. You'll be able to see it through the sides. And is the top just whatever's left? It looks like it's the vent on whatever's left. Okay, and there is the recipe, of course, which we've already got. So we will need the energy to be input into the thing, and given that this has a HV energy input. It says accepts a FE per tick. Voltage in is HV tier, so we are going to need another HV CEF. And I'm not sure if I've got all the ingredients. No, I'm going to need some bits and pieces, some stainless, some vibrant, etc. So let me just go and craft that. We'll build it outside. I'll get that rocket built, and we'll come back for, well, the first use, hopefully. Hopefully I don't need to go to the moon to actually use this, which is also about exploring microverses. And a new machine emerges on the machine floor. We've now got our, basically, Microverse projector. I've got a tank here just to put some rocket fuel in. You'll see I've fed in the existing rocket fuel. We need 8 buckets, however, to get started. Otherwise, this says missing input item, so we just need to input our rocket into here. And we're having a fuel. Now, before we actually get to the fuel, well, in fact, let's do the fuel now. Just one note is that the quest book says you need 15 of these casings. You actually need 16. Just to actually build it. So yeah, just bear that in mind, in addition to all the other sort of named things like the controller and the item inputs and outputs. Over here, I'm just going to get started with basically everything I need for the rocket fuel. So I've got a brewery fed by water, just got some manual sugar canes in for now. That's turning into fermented biomass, which I can just grab in. Can I actually dump that? If I just shift right click, will it let me dump? How about if I do anything here? No, no dump mode. Yeah, I do have an emptier downstairs. I just forgot. In fact, did I actually remove it? I did remove it. Ugh, never mind. I need to get another tank. 1 second. In fact, I've got it from here. Tank. Let's just get a couple of fluid tanks. That was the last set of iron bars that I have, but I just want to use them to just grab some of these fluids. So yeah, up to distilled fermented biomass, and we're just going to take one of those. We'll just dump it into a distillery, and that will let us change this over into methanol. I think that's methanol. Oh, actually, oh no, that might be ammonia. Yeah, that's a terrible way to make ammonia. Okay, you got 100 millibuckets, and it's terrible. Shift this into mode 3. Okay, and put that back in. And then, do I have an ammonia tank? Methanol, ammonia, yes. I do have an ammonia tank with a tiny bit left in it. So we've got plenty of ammonia over here because this is the better way of doing it. You require nitrogen, just centrifuge some air, you'll get nitrogen. And we already have a machine around here, right here, splitting water into hydrogen and oxygen, of which some of it is normally used up here for the deuterium, but I've shut this off for now just to generate me a little bit more hydrogen. So I can just use that, grab it, and it can be put in here. Okay, and that will start producing hydrogen and nitrogen, making ammonia. So ammonia is there. Oxygen, that's going to be useful. We need methanol. So the first thing is dimethylamine. So that's methanol and ammonia. So we've already got both of those things in quantities that we can actually use to get dimethylamine. And that needs a chemical reactor. So I've asked the system to make another one. Chemical reactor. Is it making one? It's making a circuit. One circuit. Is that actually broken? Have I got a shortage of tin? I do. I still haven't put a stock keeping system on this machine right here. I should keep remembering, just dump a stack of tin in occasionally and it works fine. There we go. So once that circuit's done, it can actually craft me another chemical reactor. So chemical reactor, you're going to need advanced tier for this. And even though I've started on a basic tier stack here, I'm going to take all of these out and convert them over to advanced once I get the fully automated setup. I'll show you the fully automated setup once it's done. Not important for right now. Right now we just need 8 buckets of rocket fuel. So in we go. This is now, or should now be converting into methanol, but I've got more than enough for that, so I don't need that just now. What I would like is just to fill up my ammonia tank, and that will do. And are you finished with my chemical? It's going to be about 30 seconds or so. Okay, so from rocket fuel, there's 2 ways to get it. One is with oxygen, which is easy and cheap, and I'm just going to go ahead with that. That's not the best way. The best way is to get double the output, but you need dinitrogen tetroxide. Okay, that is oxygen and ammonia again, and then you'll get that nitrogen tetroxide. In fact, I have enough. You know, I probably have enough oxygen to actually do that, but it just requires me to sort of rearrange things again. So ammonia and oxygen, I don't have either of those. So I don't want to waste the ammonia necessarily. Let's just take that ammonia out of there. Okay, and I don't care about the nitrogen, it's just air. So you can just grab this and put you back. So if I grab wherever that ammonia was, and let's just take a look again. It is ammonia and just oxygen. Okay, oxygen I have somewhere else. So oxygen and ammonia and whatever number that was. 3. It's number 1 at the moment. Okay, that should process and use up most of my oxygen, but I can go and refill that. That'll get us the booster, which will get us the double output. And then the rest is what we've previously done. 1,1-dimethyl hydrazine, or just call it hydrazine. It's probably easier to actually go with, which is dimethylamine, which is methanol and ammonia, which I already have, and some water. And then I just want the other ingredient, which is chloramine, which is ammonia again, lots of ammonia, as you can see, and hypochlorous acid. Now, this is the stuff we don't have, but it is just chlorine and water. So again, just another chemical reactor will get us that ingredient. So there is our dinitrogen tetroxide. Wow, that's hard to say. Tetroxide. I'll take that out. That's our final ingredient. And I've already got some dimethylamine. I've got 2 buckets of it already. So I just need to go and make the other component, which is the chloramine. And here we go. Finally. So both of those are going to combine, hopefully. And in fact, hang on, did I just pick that back up again? No, it's working. That's going to produce the hydrazine. And we just combine the hydrazine, finally, with this. So let's just grab our tank again. And we'll dump it out of that side and probably just empty this. It's just made some bits and pieces I don't really mind about destroying right now. So let's just put in our dinitrogen tetroxide. That's hard to say. Why won't you insert? Dinitrogen tetroxide? Yeah, that should be fine. Unless you're only accepting 1 slot. Oh, it's a mixer. Yeah, it's a mixer recipe. That's fine. I don't need to use any of this equipment then. So that is also our hydrazine. Just grab you. And both of those combined, there's only like 2 in 1 bucket relatively, but they should mix together and get us 6 buckets out. So let's just dump 1, 2. That should combine. And 6 buckets of rocket fuel. So we're going to set that up entirely automatically, but for now, I'm not going to worry about it being automatic. I'm just going to block you out and then just pop this in here. That goes in. We have 9,000 buckets. It says missing input item. I'm going to dump in our rocket and processing. Progress. Good. It's taking our input. I really hope it doesn't run out of power while it's progressing. So that's it, pretty much done. We're of course going to completely automate the whole rocket fuel chain, and we will do it with about probably 3 or 4 chemical reactors, a mixer, all advanced chain, and we're going to get these fermenters and breweries, or we may even convert over to a distillation tower or something. We need to basically get sugar canes being processed a lot faster than this. We either do it by mass production, or we just do it by different tiers or machines. Either way, it should be fine. Oh, that looks like it's done. Have we got stuff at the back? We have got stuff at the back. Look at that. Okay, stuff. Okay. We can dump that in the system. So we've got lithium ore, dense iron ore. Does that actually just make iron? Does it make like more than 1 ion on? No, we need to chemical react it to get regular iron ore with nitric acid. Of course you do, because why would that be simple? Of course, iron is pretty much infinite for us, so we don't need that. Salt ore, we're getting back. So we should be able to start the whole chain again by automating this. We don't need to go and spend salt ore. Galena gets us lead. Uranite, I assume it's just uranium, but probably some other stuff as well. Uranite dust. And we can pulverize it into uranium-238 with a chance of 14%, and then process this with the usual sort of processing. Good. And then the rutile ore. So we'll get back to that in a second. Let's get rid of the other ore types. And you can go away. Fine. So 2 stacks of rutile. The rutile we can just smelt into rutile, the gem, but I don't think we're going to be doing that. I suppose you could then pulverize it back into rutile dust. So at minimum, this thing gets you 2 stacks of rutile dust, and that is then processable in a chemical reactor with our chlorine and carbon dust, and we get the titanium tetrachloride, which you can then use to make titanium with magnesium, of course, but we can get magnesium by other methods that we've already done. So asbestos magnesite, yeah, so we already know how to get that. And carbon dust, we know we can just centrifuge trees. So that's straightforward. So yeah, we're going to need to increase the speed of the chlorine generation. That's going to be a main use material. However, before we actually get that, can we actually process this a lot nicer? So we can go through pulverization, get some chance of rutile dust anyway, and some stone dust. Yeah, straightforward. Then we can process it by the usual method, so we can go through washing. That gets us even more chance of rutile dust, and then gets to purified. We can pulverize it at that point to get even more chance of rutile, and so on and so on. So either there you can do thermal centrifuge or pulverization, and yeah, either way you're going to get to rutile dust at the end of it. In fact, you get 2 or 1 and a chance of 14% if you go via centrifuge, thermal centrifuge. I don't think we've built one of those yet. Or you end up with purified dust, and that ends up with 1 1/3 anyway, so through a regular centrifuge. So it shouldn't much matter between those two options. And I think I'm going to set up a whole ore washing pulverization chain and just start processing stuff through it, especially with this rutile stuff. But we got 2 stacks of this ore, which surprisingly is the main point of this episode, to be able to get lots of titanium. And to do that, we require a better sort of setup than the one over here, that occasionally I can get enough rutile enough to generate enough titanium tetrachloride. Okay, so we've got lots of stuff done this episode. We're into Microverse projection now to get us even more resources. We're going to want to automate the rocket fuel. I'll rearrange them between the episodes, or maybe at the start of next episode. We're getting rid of all 3 of these. These are just basic chemicals I use to get us started. We're probably going to need a stack of about 8 to 10 machines, just like we did over there, just to get us the rocket fuel set up. I may even set up something separate as far as the chlorine, because I don't want it to affect everything else. So I may want to just upgrade our chlorine generation, which is right here. I've turned off the output, this auto output, just so I can grab some. But now I can actually turn it back on, and that'll go out into the system. There it goes. And be going elsewhere. Of course, we're going to be able to feed back the salt ore that we get from this into the system once everything goes through. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I know there's been lots of stuff about chemicals, particularly the precursors for rocket fuel, but I'll just show it automated next episode and we won't go through that again. But the Microverse projector is the main thing that we got started, or got finished even. So that is ready to go. We'll pipe it in automatically once the rocket fuel. And then what I may even do, I normally have, well, yeah, I want all the actual individual setups on this side of the base. We have all the multi-blocks on this side, so we're going to pipe it underground, or we'll just go via end tanks or something just to neaten things up a little bit. That's usually a nice way to do wireless fluid transfer, and we're good to go. Yeah. If you like the episode, give it a thumbs up. Feel free to subscribe, share as you normally would. If you haven't already part of the channel, we're more than welcome to have more subscribers. Otherwise, click on the bell for notifications for new episodes. I have just started a Stationeers playthrough on the channel as well, so hopefully that's of interest to at least some of you. And we'll see you next episode for some more Omnifactory. As always, thanks for watching.